Hi Internet, Gracie Bordeaux Collier here, and you're watching The Bordeaux Show, a mini talk show for, by, and about the furry community. Welcome to the first episode. I put everything together myself, and I think I did a pretty good job. Our guest tonight is Treyn Puma, a card game developer from the West Coast. He's my first guest ever, so I'm pretty excited. Thank you for coming in, Treyn. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me on.
All right, well, let's get started. First off, do you consider yourself a furry?
I do.
All right. How long have you been in the fandom for?
I am probably going to be considered a gray muzzle as soon as I say this, but I've been around since the 90s in various communities.
All right.
Not that some of those communities would be happy to claim me. I was a much worse person in those days.
Oh, well, we won't hold that against you. I know you said you had a bit of a rocky past, but if you wanted to talk about it, who or what introduced you to the furry community?
So I'm a military brat. I did not have a typical upbringing in that regard. And I also did not have a typical upbringing in the regard of the fact that I was homeschooled from K through 12 and that my education was more religious than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I was a young Earth creationist until I was 28.
Okay.
And so I got involved in the furry community back in the old days. I remember when YERF was the squeaky clean furry archive. And that was my real gateway into it with Sonic and some of the stuff that was being put on YERF. And that gatewayed into VCL, believe it or not. And then that gatewayed into a whole bunch of other things. I was a member of several message boards, and I will not shame them by saying that I was associated with them.
What is your fursona?
I am a puma. I'm a cougar now. I was a dragon at first. I was a little bit of an edgelord as a teen, which
Yeah, I understand that. Gracie is my first fursona, so I've always been a border collie.
well, she's adorable.
Thank you. All right, so what have you been working on lately?
So my main creative project right now is Notice Me Senpai, which is a card game. For those who are familiar with tabletop card games, it plays a lot like Munchkin. At the start of your turn, you're going to turn over the top card of the attempt deck, and that's your attempt to get Senpai to notice me. And sometimes that attempt will be you're going to make Senpai a bento box, or sometimes it will be you're going to wear more makeup, or you're going to have a shorter skirt than the regulations at school say that you can. It's all the stereotypical anime, the girls trying to get the boy to notice them, and then the comedy of it is because it's like Munchkin, everybody's backstabbing. You're trying to steal the bento box so that you can give it to Senpai, or you play a card and it says, well, you wear too much makeup and now you look like a clown, or something along those lines.
All right, that's really interesting. I think that'll be fun.
Well, I obviously think it was fun. I've been working on its development for several years now, and the game is under contract right now, but we put it under contract right before COVID hit, and so COVID absolutely derailed everything. We are waiting on the artist right now, and we're in a little bit of a fight with the artist to get a more coherent art style. The first thing that she presented to us, we were like, this is Hearthstone. This is not anime. This is swords and sorcery and crystals and magic. This is not junior high girls going boy crazy.
Do you have any hobbies besides your work?
If you wish to call it, my day job is I own a small home cleaning company. That takes up about 300% of my time. And then I have several other hobbies. I'm a home brewer and a cook. I brew mead.
Excellent.
And I also have whole ton of other games, both board games and card games, that are in various stages of the concept development, testing. Is this even a game? Is this any fun? How do you find the fun in that stage? So unfortunately, for me, I never rest because I can't.
Yeah, I understand that. Just got to keep yourself busy. So, do you have any other special interests you'd like to talk about?
Homebrewing for me is, and I come at it from a very unusual angle. Most people who are into the homebrewing are doing it in terms of beer, or things that they're getting ready for a party, and so they do a 5-gallon batch of an IPA, or, oh, I'm going to a friend's wedding. Let's make a nice summer ale and I'll bring it to the wedding and that'll be my wedding gift. I brew mead, which is essentially a honey wine, and I have slowed down a lot because while I love brewing, I don't necessarily love drinking. And with all of the cons having stopped for so long, and with my business and with everything else, I haven't had enough chance to distribute at conventions, as it were. But I enjoy the historical aspects of mead brewing. My specialty in that is a thing called a bochet. It's a burned honey. You caramelize the honey before you put it into the fermentation vessel, and it, oddly enough, smells like brownies in the house when that happens.
Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. Are you familiar with the SCA?
I am familiar with the SCA as an organization. I've known people who are in the SCA. I do not participate in it, partially because I just don't have time, and partially because I don't have the income to support the costuming and the everything else that goes into it.
That's fair. Yeah, there's a lot to it. In my other life, I make costumes, so I know what that's all about. So, are there any other shout outs you'd like to make?
I shout out to I have a whole bunch of shout outs. I shout out to the crew that runs BLFC. They do a fantastic job with the convention. I used to help them run it. I stepped away for a whole bunch of reasons, and I have nothing but affection for them. I think BLFC is one of the greatest cons, especially on the West Coast. Shout out to the FC crew. They do a fantastic job. And shout out to Acello, the artist. I feel relatively privileged in saying that I'm a little bit closer to him than a lot of people. And I think that he's fantastic. I love his art. I love how he approaches his composition, his subjects, and I wish him all the success in the world.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. That's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would love to say that Notice Me Senpai will be available for purchase on the con circuit in the middle of 2023, and I cannot say that. We are, like I said, we're still in the middle of getting all of the art done for it, and that's going to probably be our biggest roadblock, but it should come out very quickly after that.
All right, that's all I've got. That wasn't so bad. Thank you again for coming on the show, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Until next time, I've been Gracie Bordeaux Collier, and this has been The Bordeaux Show. Bye!